Hey traders. So this is my midday video of what I'm kind of looking at right here, right now in the markets. So in my opinion, we just hit a major target on the upside on the ESs. We've reached up into a major trend line that I got on my chart right here. If you zoom out here and how I've got that based is way back here. Okay. And um, so that takes you all the way back to the first part of uh, August. So if you have your anchored VWAP, August anchored VWAP, okay, the start of August anchored VWAP, and you draw that trend line straight forward, that's exactly where we are currently trading at right here, right now. And it's really following the trend very nicely here. Okay, so that's the very start of August, the beginning of the anchored VWAP. That's what I've got that anchored off of, and here we are right into that resistance on ES is looking above today. I think this is a really good opportunity, potential opportunity to possibly go short. I would really be careful about trying to push on the 2 hour time frame. We're coming into a 9 count. Okay, here on the 2 hour you know. So into that resistance area, in my opinion, there's a pretty good chance we're going to back and fill. So be very mindful tomorrow. We're probably going to gap down. So heads up on that. So with that being said, if you put your market webs on this chart, we're in all-time high territory to kick off the week. Okay, this was the anchored VWAP to start the week. This is our anchor point for our current weekly anchored VWAP. This is the first day of the week, of course. And so we're getting this big explosion right into that trend line on the very first day of the week. Uh, you know, I got to be really thankful that we might be coming back down, and back testing this value area high here on last week's inventory. So, we had to be very mindful of that scenario kind of going forward here. So, it doesn't have to do that, but this is this was my target I set yesterday and my last night. I was working this morning, so I didn't get to trade this, but I would be very hesitant to, uh, I'd be very careful, people, to be trying to press. This looks like they squeeze it up into that trend line, and it's a holiday squeeze into that trend line. Uh, in my opinion, it could be quite dangerous for the overnight. Okay, I got two trend lines here that I want to really point out here. One is I anchored it off this prior swing high, and to illustrate the breakout. Okay, the breakout um, that we currently have. That was our should be acting as our support. I was thinking that we might come down this morning, and I was going to buy off that support, which you never even got back down to. Okay. Secondly, this here is the uh, August 1st, the 1st of August uh, trend line, anchored VWAP trend line. Okay. And you see where we're at now. If you look at this right here, uh, if anybody knows market webs, the the one thing that the you're looking for in a market webs is to test an untested volume point of control. We have officially tested that right here, right now on NQs. So we said did the same thing right down here, untested volume point of control, and that was acted as a critical reversal point. So there's a lot of times when you get these untested, sometimes you blow right through them, sometimes but you get these untested point of controls, they can illustrate a big reversal point in the markets. So be very mindful of that. So we'll see what happens here going forward. Uh, so so what I've got going on here right now, we've tested the untested point of control. We reached up, and I can actually edit this line just a little bit, and we may have actually tagged that. Uh, you know, go on the bodies instead of the wicks on the 2 hour charts here. That's probably a fit. Technically, you've probably already hit this trend line, so be very mindful of that. This is suggesting to me that we might have topped out on NQs as well. So be very mindful of that. So we could very well just be pushing it right into the, a lot of times you'll see that last push right into a critical spot, and that's it. You're done. And this the scenario is here, in my opinion. The recipe is here. Okay. So just be very mindful of what I'm suggesting here. Okay. August Anchor VWAP. Okay. Now this is the one that I was looking for to actually run up into that. I was actually thinking it could possibly do it today. But so this here is still the bullish case in my opinion. Uh, so it doesn't have to do it, you know. Uh, so if you look at this right here, right now, this suggests that you know, at least the Russell side might still have some legs. This was a prior untested anchored VWAP, so this is acting as a resistance zone. Okay, we are currently trying to push above that on a holiday here. So be very mindful of that. But I mean, to be honest, it wouldn't take a lot to push this up into that. So we can come down in tomorrow. SPY and NQs are flat to lower tomorrow morning, and we could actually be gapping up into this trend line tomorrow morning. So I definitely want to float that idea that we could be coming right into that, kicking off tomorrow. Then we have all three of them into that trend resistance, and something to think about, to plan ahead for tomorrow. Okay. So we're currently still into our buy zone here for the ZNs. Okay. But I do want to point out how we had this blow off top. See how we just completely took off to the moon on the ZNs. Okay. And see how the untested volume point of control is right down here. That's how fast we went up. This was after the F1C, I think. I think it was after F1C. We had this big rally. I can't remember. But the point is that really does look like a magnet right here. Then you would have the wake-off method. We would actually technically have completed the pattern if we can come down to that, the wake-off method right there to test that. You're testing that major breakout point as well. So we could be seeing that. My point is, this is where we should, based on anchored VWAP, find support. Okay, and we have found support already once before, so we got a double bottom right here at support. But that doesn't necessarily mean, we could definitely come down further and still regain that support. So I wouldn't want to see this get much worse than that, though. That my target right here, I would not want to see this get much worse at all. To think that the yields are going to start getting back under control. So be mindful of that, in your trading. Hey guys, so we are still back. We're not inverted. We're back normalized yield curve. Still here. Okay, so be mindful of that. Might be a higher low here. Could potentially be a higher low here to build off of. We'll see what happens on that. And one thing I want to point out here, so the US dollar versus the Japanese yen, this is the carry trade. When this is an ascending chart, that's bullish for the carry trade. So this suggests that the markets, we're above these prior swing highs. We're trying to push out above that today, trying to push out above these prior swing highs. So this is a bullish tone for overall global equities, as the U.S. dollar JPY suggests that traders can continue to add to their carry trade. It's a very important thing for the markets. So we're kicking off the week fairly constructive here on Skyworks. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on this. I think we could run up into the 102, 104 area fairly easily here. So I'm definitely keeping this on watch here. And here's what it gets me. This thing is running despite the fact that we had economic data in China, and exports were down in China. Surprisingly, this time of year, uh, exports should be up from China because of Christmas. Okay, but yet we had a negative read out of China. Yeah, so this is not good. So for China, and that suggests to me that being told, we just had the Apple iPhone launch, and if exports are down, how much of that is possibly iPhone shipments? So just be mindful of that in the back of your mind. This thing here is bucking the trend, so it does look like to me like we have somebody interested in supporting Skyworks here, despite the data that suggests it should actually be weak. And one thing I always look at, on these are weekly market webs, so we don't have any untested uh, uh, virtual point of controllers, volume point of controllers. I mean, and on this move up here, so that's one of the reasons it's struggling so hard here. Now, if you go down on the 30-minute, get your daily webs to a bigger time frame. Let's go 90 days. Let's see if there's any untested anchored view apps. No, it won't show it on that. There's one below us. Let me see if I can get a bigger time frame than 90 days. Yeah, see, we don't have. Yeah, it's not showing any untested anchored view apps. Okay, so that helps to be a driving force when those things have not been tested. So just be mindful of that in your trading here. If you go out, how about Apple? Apple got one above it. Apple's got one above it. So these tend to be magnets. So we might actually see an end of quarter or end of this monthly expiration this week. We could very well see a tag of 234 before the week's out. So be very mindful of that. It's broken that trend. We've already tried it once before. Could very well happen. Microsoft's got all kinds of them above it. So be very mindful of that. So let's see where we close here on Microsoft. This is an inverted head and shoulders. We tried to push out above early on this morning, pre-market. So basically, I would personally like to see us 423 or higher for the close. If that's the case, that probably a swing long, 423 or higher. So I'm actually going to wait tomorrow. I'll have an alert set, and if we can actually see an opening print around 420.23, I might actually be going long Microsoft for a potential OPEX rally here. So be mindful of that. Any other things here? How about NVIDIA itself? Any untested? Nothing. Nothing on NVIDIA. All-time highs anyway. There's all kinds of untested stuff with so yeah, yeah, we got a nice untested one. So see this right here. This acted as resistance again. So we came up this morning, right back into maybe not. So we're using that as this is becoming support today in today's session. Be very mindful of that. This is a major possibility. This could be a swing long going into the end of the week. So heads up on that. They're potentially turning this anchored VWAP into new support here for Google. So be mindful about Meta. There's Meta. I'm not going to go through all these. I'm not really seeing anything. Not in the day on the. Well, I actually had the weekly up. I'm sorry. I don't know how I changed that. Oh, it switched the time frame. That's what it did. Sometimes you put too long of a time frame, it'll automatically switch to 1 hour from 30 minutes. I didn't see it, so I'm sorry. Those were the weekly webs. Okay. these are the daily webs. They have to be 30 minutes or less to be 30 daily webs. And there we go. So we do have an untested volume point of control below us here on, and we know 600 is a major resistance area. This is a major resistance area for Meta. I would be leaning to think there's a good chance we'll come down to the 587 again. So that would be my primary thesis on that. We'll see how it plays out. And like I said, we might be. I mentioned that we might be topping. This would be one of my primary looks from what I'm seeing right here that we might be topping out in the markets. If that's the case, then I would be looking for this back test down here on the downside on Meta. Okay, where's Amazon real quick? Does it have one? Nope, those have all been tested too. How's Netflix doing? Those have been all tested. Palantir. Palantir is just a beast. Wow. MSTR. So guys, there you go. MSTR here on the daily. So, wow. Boy, they really brought that in today. Look at that. They lost $14 from the highs here this morning. Lost $14. I had called out in the weekend video 225. Look at it. We got 225. Boom, baby. Crap and burn. Crap and burn. And remember, you still got all this open interest, or potentially a lot of open interest right here at 200. They could very easily take us back under that 200. So be very mindful of that. So, okay. Thanks a lot for listening. Please retweet me and, say like me and all that stuff.